All right, we're gonna try this again. I realized the mic wasn't working. Technical difficulties. So we're gonna go back through some sourcing today. If you like or want other content other than sourcing, leave a comment down below. Would love to know more about that. Also, I'll leave a link to my Twitter. I just put up a poll, which is probably closed by now, but I will also post videos when they go out there. Other than that, we're gonna be using a tool called FlipAlert today, Keepa. And that's really RevSeller, I guess, technically. I will leave links to those below. With FlipAlert specifically, we'll get you a link for a free trial if that's what you're interested in. Check it out. Also, a mod in the buy box, which is just another not just another, but an Amazon group where we stay up to date with everything that's going on. There's private coaching, there's weekly live videos, and a lot more going on in there. Feel free to check that out as well. I'll leave a link there. So now that I'm done talking about that kind of stuff, that's, I guess, my sponsor section. Let's dive into some of this. Now that I'm just double checking. Yep, the audio is working off the mic. Cool. What I had started doing is going through my tracks with Keepa. I'm tracking things every day, either through Keepa or through FlipAlert, and I'm going back through like the last day or so of products. If I hadn't checked them previously, I'll open them up. A lot of these won't make sense, or I would have missed them, and that's okay. There's that again. John Cena's more than a day. So then I'm just checking these out. Do they still make sense? Would I want to buy them? I think I have 2 or 3 of these sitting in my warehouse right now. Not a good sign of Amazon's in, but that comes to and you would need to be approved to sell them now. Interesting. Okay, so I have to figure out a different way. Glad I didn't send those in. It's very interesting that I was approved, so it's something to really start watching with like your flips, or in general once you purchase something. Is a lot, like, I'm realizing more and more like either they're regating things, and a lot of times you can get ungated. So I'm going to have to figure out if I can sell these on Walmart or something else for that matter. So yeah, you can even see a bunch of people just not even on them now. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, well, that sucks, but it is what it is. It's part of the business, which is why I'm usually on a first buy, only buying a couple items. So let's keep going. This one's 23. I don't know if this is going to make sense anymore. This track was set a long time ago. You can see the dotted line going through here, that this was, well, I set a track a long time ago. I can't even see through all the nonsense when, but it's been a while. Let's take a look for fun. And then we will get moving. I don't think this makes sense anymore. I should probably remove it as a track, but I keep it. You never know. Yeah, that 23. And if we're looking down here, when Amazon, we could hope that they go back up to 34. But even at 34, if we just punch this in here, it doesn't make much of any sense. So that's one like little shortcut I'll do is I'll just set what's like, if I know what the pricing, like if I look down here and I say, okay, 34.99, we can set it up here, and we can also typically see FBA pricing and then buy box pricing here. But I always want to double check down on Keepa to kind of see what the pricing has been down here, and not just rely on the calculator up here. There's many different types of calculators, whether it's RevSeller, Ace and Zen, Seller Amp, and I'm sure there's a dozen others that I have just not even looked at. But this does make sense regardless. This Mattel item I was tracking, I don't know why I started tracking this. Oh, because it was just a little bit in and out. Okay, got it. So I saw it like a blip back in March, looks like, came down, and looks like it came in just for a second on price. It doesn't make much sense anyway. This doesn't make sense. I think I originally saw it somewhere around here. It was like, hey, if they stay out of stock, cool. But there's always the risk back here that that Amazon comes back in stock and stays in stock, and that's kind of what's seemingly starting to happen. But I wanted to just kind of get that notification, because maybe more time had passed and like they just kind of blipped in a little bit, and now the price was 30, 40, 50 bucks. Obviously not the case, but I just wanted that there just in case to kind of look at that. And that's the nice thing about Keepa, is like you got 5,000 tracks, man. Like, use them. Like I'm not even using probably half my tracks right now. So you can use things for weird edge cases, just so you get eyes back on things, because we already looked at it. It's impossible to keep track of everything. The same idea here. Looks like just there's a little like drop down. What I mean by blip is like Amazon comes in for a second, and then we're back up to 40. So 22.99 to roughly 40, and they do this a couple times. It looks like someone just come down on price, unfortunately. But 22 to 40 might be worth looking at if it was still up there. And I think I set this track kind of weird. Yeah. So I need to get rid of that. And what I'm doing right here for anyone that's newer to Keepa is I set the buy box for the third party offers just too high. So I don't want to get notifications when that happens. So that's why you saw like this purplish dotted line versus the yellow dotted line. Those are tracks. So I must have missed it right here. Wanted to take a look at it again. It looks like maybe I missed it there potentially. And that's it with this one. Let's go back. Yeah, this one's it's on stock. Lots of up and down. They're coming in and out. It's not particularly interested in this specifically when I see tons of up and downs. I could wait for a little bit, but also giving people more opportunity to get in. You can see in the offer account, the new offer account's at 18, and now we're up to like 42. I don't particularly love like a couple up and downs are fine, but like how frequently they've come in and out, in and out, in and out, stayed in stock, back out, stayed in the stock. Now they're kind of doing the same thing, and we're at 33, and we would need to get this for 20. 33 to 20, I can tell off the top of my head, doesn't make sense. I think this, I'm assuming this, I'm just restricted in Adidas now. Oh, you can sell this one, weirdly. Okay, interesting. So at one point I must have set the track, and yeah, they've been going, Amazon's been in and out at $18. So if we got this for 18, I think they went even lower. I must have looked at this recently. That would, I mean, that could make a lot of sense. We'd want to look more into sizing. Does size 6 women's make sense? Yeah. We want to look into color and size, but we won't do that for this one. Let's take a look today. I want to see here. Update existing track. Yeah, that's why I got notified. Okay, that one's just not good. Let's continue on. This one's not good right now, and I set this track back here when it was 89, trying to catch it at like 40. Looks like the pricing had changed, and I must have went through just a streak where I was just studying these tracks bad. Cool. Back to that. Nonetheless, it's our own stock. We could potentially get it if they were down at 40 again. We could always, worst case, you can always open it up. Sometimes they're still there, and even sometimes if you go to, is there anyone here at all? Okay, yep, IPA, let's go. We can learn more. Nope. Sometimes you could see all buying options, and occasionally Amazon will be back ordered, which means they're just not readily available to ship, and then they'll give you an estimated time for shipping potentially. Or they could sit for a while, and sometimes that price is still low there. And at that point, we could have a conversation if we were okay buying that. If it was $40 and back ordered, more than likely would, as much as I don't like women's shoes at this point. So let's keep going. We're back to here, and yeah, we got through these, and then we will move back. So for anyone that's new, FlipAlert. Let's go price drops. FlipAlert works a lot like Keepa.com. Let's go look at, works a lot like deals page for all of you that have done some flips before, but on steroids. You can, instead of having to set these individual things then go through and do this, you could just have a task set automatically. So if you just want to see high profit, high ROI items, you can go in and set, I just want Amazon minimum profit, minimum ROI. And we can say what categories we want to look at. We can say we have a bunch more. We could say unranked items. We can see only Walmart matches. We could have whitelist if there's something that we want to see. We can have blacklist. Like this thing kept showing up, and if you've seen previous videos, this brand's just not good. So I wanted that gone. Notifications. You could set. I don't know how to set this yet. I haven't done this yet, but you could set it up now. So if it comes through on this task, you get a notification in the Discord. That could be great for if you have team members, VAs, things like that. I haven't done that yet because it's just me. I'm a one-man band right now. I've had as many as 3 VAs at once. I've had as many as 6 warehouse workers at once, and I've now kind of downscaled. I'm happy to sit in like that 40 to 60K a month range. Buying a little less, but selling ideally for a little bit more and more margin on it. It's just kind of more comfortable at doing a couple other things aside from the buy box, doing this content, which I'm really enjoying, and other stuff as well. So, but that's just one example as far as like a task. And we can set those tasks up, and once we've set those tasks up, they're going to show up here for potential items to look at. And I have a couple tasks going right now: shoes, non-shoes, high ROI, and also Walmart stuff. So then we're going through and looking kind of like we normally would. $19. I don't know if this makes sense. It's also a third-party seller, so we'd have to really look at that. No, it doesn't, not gonna make a ton of sense. So there's two people that are down at 19. We'd have to get through all that really high ranked game. Plus we'd want to look at the seller. So if here's a good example, if this specific, so I'm going to zoom in for a second. If this specific seller curbside was the only one at 19.99 and then it jumped to 33, we could look at this and say, does this make sense? Still doesn't, but we could then look at that. But as soon as I saw 1998, 1999, 25, we had to get all the way back to this range. I knew that just was not going to make sense. And on top of that, the rank is super high, so it doesn't make a ton of sense. Yeah, so I just wanted to give you an idea kind of why I'd be looking at that way. Let's zoom this back out. It's one feedback I did get is I am running real fast through these because my brain's moving at like 1,000,000 miles per hour because I've just been doing this for a little while, and by a little while, like 2-3 years with flips, and Amazon like 9ish years. So like my brain runs kind of fast at times, so I'm going to try to slow down when we do find stuff. And so what I'm doing as I'm going through this is I usually like to get through a page or two, and then I will, something updated. Let's take a quick look. Nope. Glidden Casual, maybe. I don't think I can sell that brand right now. And so I'm looking at the bottom right corner. You can see how there's a little Keepa pop-up similar to what you'd see on like Keepa's website. So I'm looking at that being like, hey, is this potentially maybe something kind of that I might want to look at? Like, I'm not even like, I'm just kind of like eyeballing it, but like maybe there's a drop there, and then I open it up. Obviously, depending on how fast your computer is, you may not be able to have as many tabs open. So you may only do a couple of these and come back and kind of rinse and repeat that process. For me, I got tired of not being able to have 3 billion tabs open, so I definitely bought a more beefy computer for that reason. I don't think I know I can't sell that brand. And so we're just going through this. Yarn Lion, I don't know what that is. We'll open it up. When in doubt, I'm basically, my general rules, I'm just going to open it and take a look at it. It's tier 3. I know I can't sell that. There's a lot of random helmets. These are third party. Vineyard. Yeah, Vineyard. I'm going to open a couple of these up just to take a look. I'll look at that. There was a drop there. And as I'm going in, this is like legit what I do day in and day out when I'm inside of FlipAlert, trying to see if there's anything. And and I have my filter set very loose, so there's going to be a lot of crap we're going to go through here to potentially find like good stuff. But I'm okay with that. Some people just might want to see just the cream of the crop, but there's definitely going to be stuff that gets missed, that's anomalies, which since I have the time, I like to go through and look for those things. I'm going to go maybe that, I don't know. Jelly, no. There's a Yankee candle. We'll look at it. I don't know if that makes sense. Also candles. So I live in the Southwest, specifically like in Las Vegas. Candles melt a lot easier during this time of year. It's not even particularly hot yet, but by the time they sell, I've definitely gotten a few candles back over time. No. Let's keep going. Like I said, just trying to get through like the first page. I think I have it set to like 100 items on the first page. Look at this guy. I don't think that's gonna work, but we'll look at it. Foam pressure washer, probably not. We're through the first page. We got 3 pages here. Just go back to the top real quick here, and we'll leave the second page here, and we'll go over and look at a few products. I'm not expecting a lot this one to make sense, but 30 to 19, no. Well, so what caught my attention was this dip that was over here on that smaller graph, but that's why I opened these up and just take a quick look. You can see realistically the price is somewhere around 30-ish, and even in the buy box like 30, 90, 180 kind of reflects that 180. That's like 30. That's obviously is not worth the time to buy. 11%, $2 on 19. If this were to like skyrocket, if this were higher, then maybe, but it's just not. Let's look here. I think it's gonna be a similar idea. Black cherry, these were sitting in the 34 range when Amazon's in stock. They like to set at 1688. They're back down there again. And if they stay in stock, so if we go a year out, you can see like it looks so potentially okay, but the fact that if we go further back, when Amazon's in stock, you're just getting wrecked. You could gamble on this one. This would, for me, would be more of a gamble flip, so you need more money on it. Even if you got to $29.99, I still don't know that it makes sense. No, it doesn't. It still doesn't matter regardless. I should have just checked that in the beginning. And what I mean by that is like seeing that, okay, 30, 34, I should have just put like even 34 up here and be like, yeah, this doesn't make sense, and moved on. Let's just move to the next one. This is 24 on these pricing. 90 and 180 are much lower, which correlates. They were down here for a little bit. So you could probably figure 45 would probably be like your upside. On 29 is 24, not enough specifically for women's items. You want more buffer into women's clothing. They're more likely to get returned, not fit, and then you're dealing with having to pay the fees to get it returned. Then is it good? Is it still new? Is it not? Like, so you need more buffer on this. Like jeans, I'm typically for women wanting to see closer to like 40% and like $10 at least, if not more. I should honestly review the fees and see what that looks like. Just gonna grab a little protein shake. All right, let's go through the rest of these. And typically when I'm doing this, like obviously I'm not talking out loud, so I can literally just kind of, if I wasn't talking, it would be like this. All right. You get the idea. So I'm looking at this. What I did there, I was like, cool. I see $12.99. I see this. The calculator makes sense. The question is, does it actually sell? And if we're looking down here, it's got one review. The ratings aren't moving. I've seen a lot of, I don't know if a lot of things are getting merged or what's happening. I've seen this happen a lot around April. I don't know about you guys, where you see this and it pops up, but there's not much rating movement. And I'm surprised that the actual drops are showing 56 here. I mean, it's showing that it's moving. And also what I did here was basically I put equals and then the price, because then I can filter out the rest of these. I'm actually kind of curious how the rest of these, yeah, this one's moving. And what I mean by moving, the rating count's going up. So this one's selling, this one's selling. You can clearly see ratings are selling. They also have more reviews. So this one's taking the bulk of it. That 10 pack, like maybe you can buy one, like maybe, but it's probably gonna sell slower. You just have to be ready for that. Like it's just gonna sell slower. There's no way around that. So if I did buy this, it'd be like 1 to 2, and understanding that this is gonna take some time. Speaking of that, I'm going to, what I want to do is actually put some notes down for. So if we bought 2 of these, if your cash flow was tight, I wouldn't. If you could find better things, potentially not. I might buy 1 or 2 of these though, even if they're moving a little slower. So if I bought 2, made, call it $15 profit, there's $30 right there. And I'm actually gonna save this over on my business side. Yep, $12.99. Go to carts. I'll just put that in my cart for now and we'll continue on. Vineyard. So this is actually up at 71 again. Was it lower? It was. Okay, so these were way more expensive. Wow. Okay, so these were 130. Not selling very many a month. I mean, they're doing. Yeah, no, the buy box Amazon. So when they're in stock, when Amazon's in stock, they're probably doing all right. But other than that, they're probably not doing particularly great. You can see they're getting a sell here and there, which is interesting to see. So the question is, if it's 71, if it's 125, does that make sense? It could make a lot of sense if you could get that sale. Let's look at variations. We could do it this way. We can also do variation viewer. My only concern, this one's, is that Amazon on one, let me go look at ratings. Ones that have a lot of ratings are closer to that $71 price. We'd have to essentially, we have 2 things working against us. One, it's not the top one. One, when Amazon's in stock, they sit down at a $71 price. So we're hoping Amazon goes back out of stock, which historically they have. And we have to go 9. So they were 98 there. They've gone even lower. So we have to figure 130-ish for that. 2. Let's take a look at the color. Are these moving at all? I want to copy that color if I can. There we go. Copying the color, and I'm going to go to variations. I'm going to pull the color. I'm going to deselect everything, and I'm going to select that. Are there any reviews, ratings, any sign that these are moving? Not really. They're really, really slow. Even if we go to 180, there's not much rating movement. I wouldn't trust the ratings here because we got that big bump. Well, afterward, they're moving a little bit. They're moving a little bit here, so that's cool. They're moving a little bit there. So there's some indication there's movement. Not a ton. Once again, this would be okay, we'd have to go one by one through these and take a look at what your business situation is. Does it make sense to try to buy one of these, knowing that they do move, but it could potentially take some time? And then we'd also want to look at like what are the best overall sizes, so we can see large. And what this is, let me back up. This is probably a situation where my brain's moving a million miles per hour. This is basically showing reviews for like sizing, so you can see XXL, so extra large is the most reviewed one. Large, you get the idea for that. So these would probably be the size we would want to look at. And then we can see the Ocean Breeze actually in an XXL actually sells there. We can see that we're looking at 29% of this Ocean Breeze Tide Blue. Is that it? Is this the actual? No, I don't think that is actually it. Okay. I was like, wait a second. Ocean Breeze Tide Blue, Ocean Breeze Tige. I don't know what that means. I'll be really honest. I'm assuming it's not Tide Blue. Is there another? I'm gonna take a look down here because I don't think any of these in the variations had reviews. Let's take a look. I'm honestly unsure about the color. Ocean Breeze Tide Blue. Okay, so that is that. So none of these colors have been. The color that we're looking at has been reviewed. The size is okay. So this definitely going to sell a little slower. We are aware of that. So we'd have to make a decision if we're going to try to buy some of these. For me, clothing this slow, I'm probably passing unless I have just a ton of extra capital just sitting around and I'm okay. And my sell-through rate's good as far as my IPI score goes. My storage is good and all that stuff's good. Then we can have a conversation about like, should we buy this? But like in general, I'm probably not buying this. That may be something you would buy, and you could definitely make some decent money on it if you can get that price back up. You just have to be aware that Amazon at any point could come in and stay in, and then you're kind of down selling, so even if let's say they came back in at 98, you're back making $3 and you're trying to get up to in the 125, maybe 130 range. I can't type apparently. 130 30, there we go, 130. So there's definitely some upside to this for sure. If you're okay a little slower, the upside definitely I think outweighs the downside. Be something I'd consider. Trying to not buy it all real slow things, as we had that cheaper other item that we're buying that's slow on top of that, but this definitely would be a possibility. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, leave a comment and I'm happy to go back through that. What do we got here? Net Rush 94 to 208, large bulky. Don't love that, but we'll sell it if it makes sense. Definitely higher ranked. Let's see here. Drops 10 drops a month. Definitely you could get it sold. Figure 211. They do have 12 of these. Let's look at variations. What do we got? 94 anywhere. These are further. Let's go look at ratings. We're looking at 94.50. We went. I just liked about to find it that way. So not much going on. It's probably why they're dropping the price. There's just not much happening here. Not much going. Net Rush has been here. Net Rush was up here there. Net Rush has been a little bit of everywhere for the last year, and they're just not moving that many of them, which is probably why they dropped the price. It's time for them to move on. You absolutely could buy this. It would just take some time, and you would have to hope that Net Rush gets through their products relatively quick if they stay down at 94. And also understand that it's large and bulky, so you're going to ship that to a separate warehouse, and shipping is probably going to be more than even this calculator is. I would just, on a safe side, say $10. So you absolutely could buy something like this and be okay. I'm not going to, like I said, my storage is a little tight, so I'm trying to stay away from super high ranked items right now. So understanding that, let's continue on. Oh, I totally forgot about, so one thing which I'll mention, let's get through these products. I don't know who that is. They have gun, interesting. 79 rating, not buying from that dude. 95 with maybe, but I don't think that makes sense, so we'll move on. We need to get approved. And like, what is this even? I'm very confused. It's just a lion thing. Okay, cool. That makes sense. They move not particularly fast. 11 drops a month. Wouldn't want to buy a lot of these. You could buy, 1 to 2 of these potentially. Wonder I'd have to get approved. Am I approved to sell this? Check. I could sell this, so I could buy like 1 to 2. It's going to take some time to sell. Just understand that, like, it doesn't move particularly fast. There's definitely sales drops happening. The other question I have, is there any movements in the ratings, since there's a variation that would determine if I'm buying any of these or not? There's so many of these too. $16.99. There's a little rating jump up. One here, one pops there. It's like, I would feel comfortable buying like a single. Is this a normal size? Yeah. Large standard. I would be okay buying like one of these. The ROI justifies it. There's potentially a 10% drop as far as business discounting. Let's look at this. If there's only 3, you would have to buy 3 of them to get down to 15, 18. So if you have a business account, which you should, or ideally should, I should say, if you buy 3 of these, you can get down to 15, 18 on price, which then would make it even better. The downside is you have to buy 3. If I buy 2, it's still, so you'd have to go to 3 of these, and I'm for $1, almost $2, I'm probably letting this be. I would, like I said, I'm buying like 1 of these. It's not much, but I'm buying 1 of these. But so I'm always being conservative with what I'm buying. Probably part of the reason why, like, me trying to spend like serious money, like, can be tricky at times. So I would buy 1 of these, and I put that on the side. So far we are, probably a half hour, 40 minutes in, we're at $47 in potential profits. So that's cool. Let's continue on. I can actually sell this Adidas. It's a 67. I don't know why I got noticed. So 59 was here. They're definitely like 90-ish. Amazon comes in, then goes away. I don't think that, even if you're at $100, the money doesn't make sense, and that's so we're just moving on from there. I thought this would be the case. Let's take a look. Nope. It's funny, I actually purchased this for riding my one wheel. Something like this, just a little extra protection. Not like, dang, that's a lot. That's a lot of money for how many? Okay, 72. That's a little different. I think I bought like a pack of 3 at the time. If you could sell it, maybe. It's kind of scary, but maybe. I'm probably not buying that. I can't get approved, and I'm not gonna buy. I think they needed like 100, so I would be moving on. Same idea with this one. Now we're on to page 2, and we can literally repeat this process. And we found, $47 so far. So I'd literally be repeating this process, going down. Maybe that, unlikely. We know now those swells. There's a swell. Yeah, you got the line that goes across, and then it went up and back down. I'll open it just to look at it. Look at that. That's probably not a thing. Might be a thing I want to set for a track for later, though. Oh, it's a different color shirt, maybe. Maybe that. And we just continue. Like I said, we're literally just repeating this process. Typically, I'm somewhere between 30 and 60 minutes into flips in the morning when I'm not doing these videos. When I'm doing these videos, it could take a little bit longer, but and if you are like in the beginning, it might be even longer for you, then that's okay. There's nothing wrong with like taking your time, going through things. There's going to be new opportunities, even if somehow they get bought up. Tomb Raider 1 and 2 remastered. Let's look at that. I don't even know what that is. Okay, let's keep going. Another thing to kind of know, like this obviously looks kind of like a PL product, so like I'm just ignoring it. You're not going to see Honeywell do something like this. And when you look at the fruit fly traps for indoors, fly trap indoor for even the titling looks very like PLE, like trying to like keyword smash things into there. Versus like Van Hazen men's fit short sleeve dress shirt polo, like it's just different. It flows better than just trying to smash a bunch of things. Let's get to the third page too, since we don't have too many tabs. Or like electric razor and Mochi electric shaver for men, upgraded foil shaver with 3 like, oof, versus we know, like I know this is like a slightly bigger brand. It's just the brand large zipper tool tote. We'll look at that. I don't think that's gonna make sense though. Nope. Back to those Wranglers again. There just isn't a ton of stuff on this third page. That's okay. We're only back to 7 a.m. That's another thing. A lot of people just don't go back and look through this stuff, or are unwilling to go through this stuff. Lee's, we can look at that. I don't know if I'm approved for Lee's. I always forget if it's Lee's or Levi. Look at that. Let's look at that. I don't think that makes sense, but we'll open it up. Now we're getting a few tabs open. Cool. This last set, I will move a little bit quicker because I want to talk a little bit about the product finder if this is your first time here, as far as that goes. Nope. So let's just run through these. Most of these, my suspicion, aren't going to be good. There's no seller here. Yep. You can see all buying options. Make sure there's nothing real cheap here. Nope. Move on. You can sell it $8.99 to $28, $8.99, and yeah, I would buy that. I would buy 3 of them if they let me. I'm actually gonna put that into my cart. $8.50 is, call it $8 on 3 of them. If they let me buy 3, that'd be another $24. Looks like they're gonna let me. There's no like risk of, I'm not seeing any issues with seller count, anything like that. So yeah, I'm willing to bet they're gonna limit me. Yeah, they're limiting me to 3. That's cool. We're gonna get this checked out real quick. I actually like this a lot. As soon as I say we're gonna move a little quicker through it, of course, right? Okay, cool. Let's keep going. We need to be approved. So before I even look, I'm gonna try to get approved. The money sign branded things usually harder. Like I see far less of them. Another thing to know, let's say you're like, I want to buy this anyway because it makes sense. I don't know if it does. Let's say you're like, okay, that's good enough. It's not. Don't buy that. That doesn't look great without further research. And the invoice said you need 10. What Seller Central, not Seller Central, what the help, or when you say go buying 10 of these, 10 of these, if you do it for 80, typically it's 50. They will say, oh no, actually it's 50, even and you can argue back and forth with them and they'll just won't let you. So please, not approved. Okay, this one's no longer a thing that was even here. I'm just curious. At 24, didn't make sense? No. Large bulky killed it. Okay, cool. Tomb Raider 15 on 30. I think that'll make sense. It's like $5. Understand that we could, close to 30, call it $5. And if I could buy 3 of these, I would. You're typically going to buy 2 video games, so we're looking at another $5. So $10 in profit right there. Go get these knocked out as well. Cool. Purchased. Looks like I purchased another variation at 1.2. Cool. Okay. That's probably a sign I should take a look. So sometimes the video games, if they all drop down, we could take a look. Be like, hey, is there any other at 15? I think. Nope, there's nothing else at 15. The other thing we could do, which I'm not going to go too deep into today, and as you notice, I've been real bad about it, is clicking the Google. This video could be an hour and a half long. Amazon's at 15. Is there anyone else at 15? We could say, oh, hey, maybe GameStop's running a sale, and we can start moving out from there. They're $13.99, so there's a potential option there to look at those. I don't love GameStop just from the a lot of times that these end up not being new, then you have to deal with returning them. Video games, at least video game wise, but there's one possibility, and then from there we could say, hey, is there any other sales happening? Midnight release, nope. Quick save, $15 only, so we could potentially look at some of those, potentially some of these. If I had more time, I would totally love to play some Super Mario RPG, but anyway, I don't, so I'm not. That would have to be, yep, and a whole different thing. So we could dig into potentially going to quick saves and looking at these two and see if they make any sense. And that's just one example how we could take one lead and potentially bring it into another. So yep, I can buy 2 of them. They're video games are usually limited to 2. Well, that's loading on the buy page. A little bit of coffee. All right, let's keep going. So that's $30. It's not a ton of money, but like it starts adding up when you got 30 profit, 17 profit, 24 profit, 10 profit. I think I got this already. I got an alert from that. Yeah, 27. If we would have had this one, which I'm fairly certain I did already because it's already on here. $18. I'm going to count that in there. $18. I think I got 2 of them, so I'd be 36. And that reminds me of one thing. Let's go to FlipAlert up here. Let's take a look at. So these are all the tracks I got for FlipAlert, and why did that remind me of that? It's because I'm pretty sure I was tracking this, and I bought it right. Maybe not. It was yesterday for sure. I thought anyway. I thought I was tracking it up here. Maybe not. Okay. There's definitely, I'm very confident on FlipAlert. I set a track and it pinged me and I was able to buy those. Bunch of Doom. Yep. There it was. So right here, this is yesterday morning. I bought a few of these. So that's where that came from. And that's why that reminded me of this. And then we could look at, are there any of these make sense that came in stock? There it is, 640 against there. So this was going in and out of stock potentially. Got it. That's why I wanted to check out to make sure of, and that's why that was there. So let's keep going. I don't know what any of this is. I'm just going to try to approve. That's one thing I will do is I'll just try to click approve on something if I can. And just try to continuously reopen things. Like it seems like a war of nutrition where you're just basically getting restricted, you're reapplying, getting restricted and reapplying. You get the idea. $35 down to 15, even if it's at 39 on 15. I don't know why that's so expensive. It's just, it's a 300 pack. That's why it's heavier than even when 12 pounds. That makes sense. Okay, so this is very heavy, so it does make sense. You might be able to take a pack of 300 and break it down into a pack of 50 if you wanted to do that math and try to figure that out, and if you were approved. For the sake of the length of the video, I'm not going to dive super deep into debundling. That's not something I even do a ton of, but this would definitely be a potential. If you like take 1519 divided by, was it 6, and then see what that pricing would be to see if it could work with a pack of 50 or not, or potentially a pack of 100, or you get the idea. this could be something that could be fun to go back and look at for a debundling opportunity, potentially. I'm actually going to save this on the side. Maybe I'll do a future video about that debundling. All right, let's keep going. I feel pretty confident. Did I buy one of these already? I'm going to look. It showed back up. Did I buy any of these? I bought some other variations a couple days ago. If I didn't, there's another $13 right there. I bought 3 sizes. It looks like I'm gonna view the order or no side. See how many of these I bought? 1, 2, 3. I bought 4 of these, and if that $13 for 13 times 4 would be $52 more. I've already bought this, so obviously it's not going to help me, but I just want to give you an idea of the power of doing this. Very consistent pricing, doesn't sell a ton, dropped on price. Worst case, my hope is by back to school season, it's May. It's obviously that's all the way to August. Worst case, I get them sold during that period of time, but hopefully much sooner. And for that price and profit, I'm willing to sit on things for a little bit longer. So yeah, there's that one. Let's take a look at this. I think I just wanted to see LOL. They were out of stock. Looks like they came back in, and prices just kind of went to crap. Yep, not selling very good at that price, that higher price anyway. So I'm not overly too worried about those. All right, swell 30 and 19, right? Yeah, must have looked at this one. Maybe we already looked at this one. So then we're back to so then I would go back to my price drops. I would check my top. What I mean by top, I would go back to well, that's weird. It's not let me do that. Let's go previous. I'm just gonna refresh this real quick, and then I would take a look at everything for the last half hour again. We look at that. It's kind of moving a little bit quicker. Not particularly interested in the Burt's Bees things, and then we're back down to these helmets again. Probably Net Rush or someone like that. Then we're back down here, so we know that we've already seen those. So I just wanted to double check, make sure there's nothing we're missing. These are going to be a little too low on price, I believe. Yeah, we need usually at 15 for a video game. We need closer to like 30 or more to even consider it. And then we'd want the video game rank to be lower because they're just not moving particularly fast. You could buy this if the price is a little higher, but it's not for me. So the last thing, which I'm not going to go fully through because we are already at how far are we ever so far? I'm kind of curious. We are already 42 minutes in. I was going to try to keep it a little shorter. So Product Finder works a lot like Keepa Product Finder as well. So we could say, cool, this is legit what I'm going to do after this is done. I'm going to get rid of stuff I don't want to see. And then I'm going to go for Amazon. I'm going to see buy cost from, I don't care about buy cost, profit. I'm going to keep this real loose just so I see more stuff. And as you've seen, by keeping things loose, you can see, you just see more stuff overall and more stuff shows up. And if you didn't have time, you could set these even tighter. Let's say you're like, I got 20 minutes in between jobs or whatever, in between things. You could set this a little tighter and you could say, okay, I want to see things only $4 and 30% profit or whatever that means. I'm even setting this a little tighter for this demonstrations. A lot of times I will also have FBA on, and I'll say capture on those as well. And then these will lit up, and then we repeat the exact same process. Then we're going back through these. I'm restricted in this, otherwise I would have bought that. We're doing the exact same thing, going back through new products. The other option for you, which you could do, is basically do the product finder from the start and then just go back. Basically, if you didn't want to just do price drops, so price drops is typically what I'll check a couple times throughout the day. If we're gonna do like a too long, didn't listen all the way through this and you somehow got all the way back here, price drops are great. Like throughout the day, you kind of check the last hour or two, or if you're in here, product finder, this could be where we just start the day. Like we could literally just say, okay, I only want to see X things. I want to see, I'm cool seeing specific, and I do a ton of stuff. Probably don't even need to see beauty. You get the idea. And then we can set our seller to whatever we want, our price for like profit 3 and 20%, or it could be 25%. If you're really tight on time, maybe you move this. You just want to, this is for fun, is to say, we're tight on time. We only want to see things that are $4 and 30%. And I want us to capture unranked items because sometimes, like specifically electronics, things show up. And understand, if you're going to start tightening these filters, you're going to see less, and some things are going to kind of work. You're going to miss some things. You got to be okay with that. I'm gonna set this for 19th to 21st. 19 to 21st. Sure, that works. 20 to 21st. There we go. Let's do this. So if you just did one thing, you could literally just do this, and you can just start cooking through just these items. It's interesting to me. Am I on page 2 already? No, interesting. So it hasn't even found that much because of how tight I put the filters up, and that's okay. So we're looking at stuff from last night, which is perfect because in typical price drop section, you're not going to see stuff come all the way back to like 11 p.m. unless your filters are super tight. But if they're loose, you might get to 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and we could start looking further back. And this is where people are going to miss things, or even sometimes on Keepa deals, it's going to be real hard to kind of filter back through all this stuff. Actually, I want to go to my filter one last time. I'm going to go look at other. I'm going to say, just to be safe, let's go 19. Okay. I like to kick it one day after, apply. There we go. So setting the filter for a day after pulled in everything for today, and then we can start working backwards. Same concept you saw previously, Mattel. Let's see what we got. Oh, Amazon had these for 22 at one point. See, this probably doesn't still make sense, but anyway, then we repeat this process. We burn through all these products, and you're gonna start seeing stuff you've already seen. We can literally go next, and we go through all these products. We want to go all, like if you created a general routine for this, you want to go all the way back until the last time you looked at products. For me, it was probably around 4 p.m. So on 4 p.m. yesterday, so I'd want to get all the way back to somewhere around here. And that was 3 to 4 pages of stuff with things that are a little more filtered. So that's going to be my next thing. But for, like I said, the video is already super long, 46 minutes. I'm going to leave it here. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you got some value out of this. If you did, like, subscribe, leave a comment if you want to see more of this, different kind of things. Would love feedback and input on all this. And I will, like I said, leave my Twitter link. I'll leave a FlipAlert Trial link. I'll leave the link to the buy box if you want more of me, Saul, Chad, all the guys inside of the buy box. Coaching inside of there as well. I think I got everything. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.